Welcome to a quick description of the menus and functions of the Adaptive Interfaces OSM-100 Oil Status Monitor Gauge for home-built and experimental aircraft. Right now the instrument is in its normal operating mode, also referred to as Menu Level 0 or the main menu. In this mode, the instrument has two digital displays, the top display being oil temperature and the bottom display being oil pressure. Right now it is set for English units so that the upper display shows 195 degrees Fahrenheit and the lower display shows 48.5 psi or pounds per square inch. By using the function button, this can be changed to a metric display. Now the instrument is showing 91 degrees Celsius for oil temperature and 36 kilopascals for oil pressure. This can be turned back to English units by simply pressing the function button again. Another set of buttons on the instrument are the up and down arrow buttons. Right now, with the instrument set for front panel control of the display brightness, the up and down arrows can be used to brighten or to dim the display. We'll leave it at this setting because that works best for the video. Also available on the instrument is an internal backlight that can be controlled with an external voltage or a potentiometer or control on the instrument panel. It can be dimmed to the point where it's off, or it can be brightened considerably. We'll leave it at a readable brightness. Now the instrument has three menu levels in addition to menu level 0, which it's in right now. The first menu level is options for the operation of the instrument. The second menu level are alarms that can be set for oil pressure and oil temperature. And the third menu is for calibration data points or set points for the various types of sensors that the instrument uses. We'll kind of go through these a little kind of briefly and show you how to get into the different menus. Also, there's a fourth button, the alarm button. That is if the instrument is in an alarm condition. The pressure or temperature, whichever is in an alarm condition, will flash. If you wish to turn that off for 2 minutes, you simply press the alarm button and it will turn off the alarm mode for 2 minutes and to keep the instrument from being a distraction to the pilot. Let's go into the first menu level. To do this, we press the function button in and we hold it in for about 5 seconds. We're now in menu level 1. The first function available is the display brightness function. Right now it's set for front panel control. It can be set for a photocell control. There's a little photocell on the front of the instrument, and in bright light the display will brighten up, and in dim light the display will automatically dim down. Another option for brightness is an external brightness control. An external voltage, normally set with a potentiometer or control on the instrument panel, can be used to adjust the display brightness. We'll bring it back to the front panel brightness control. Next function is an auto dim function. This is used only when the instrument is in a front panel brightness control setting. This, when it's turned on, allows the photocell to automatically brighten the display when the instrument goes from a low light condition to a high brightness condition, and it will dim the display if it goes from a high ambient light or brightness condition to a low ambient light condition. Next function is the update period. Right now it's set for 1 second. The instrument samples oil pressure and temperature 250 times a second, but if the display were to change with changing values at that rate, it would flicker and be a very bad annoyance to the pilot. Therefore, the instrument is set to update its values only every 1 second. This can be changed from a level of or a period of half a second all the way up to a period of 5 seconds. We'll leave it set at the 1 second point. The next function is the selection of the type of sensor used for temperature. The temperature is designated as a small degree symbol on the digital display, and the SN is a sensor. Right now it's set up for a resistive temperature sensor, which is probably the most common type of sensor available. Other sensors available are an electronic sensor that would output a 0 to 5 volts depending on the temperature, and also an LM335, which is a special type of solid-state temperature sensor that can also be used with the instrument. We'll leave it set with at a resistance type sender right now. The next function is the type of pressure sensor that can be used with the instrument. Right now it's set for use with a resistive pressure sensor. Again, this is the most common type of sensor available for pressure, and so that's the default on the instrument. Another sensor available would be an electronic sensor that outputs a 0 to 5 volt signal for pressure. And a third type is a current loop pressure sensor. This is also a very common pressure sensor that's used, and it outputs a 4 milliamps to 20 milliamps output in relation to pressure. We'll continue back up to resistance. The next function is the double return function, which is a return to main or return to menu level 0 function. We'll go ahead and try to do that right now to show you what happens. It puts the instrument back into the normal operating mode. To get to the second menu level, you press and hold the function button in for 5 seconds. We're now in menu level 1. We press the function button again and hold it in for 5 seconds. We're now in menu level 2. These are the alarm settings for the instrument. And for pressure and for temperature, there is a low pressure alarm setting and a high pressure alarm setting. The first function here is the temperature alarm low setting, noted by the LED down at the bottom here. Right now it's set to off, but it can be set in 5 degree Fahrenheit increments. Again, the alarm sensor is always set in English units. Metric units aren't available for it, so we just have to use English units. Again, we can bring this back to the off setting, which is the default. Next alarm that can be set is the high temperature alarm. If the temperature exceeds the value set, the instrument will go into an alarm condition. Again, we can leave that in the off default setting. Next alarm function is the low pressure alarm setting. Again, it can be set in 5 psi units. And if the pressure drops below that for 2 minutes, it will go into an alarm condition. The next alarm is a high pressure alarm setting. Again, it can be set in 5 psi units. And again, it would, in this case, if the pressure exceeded the alarm setting, it would go into the instrument would go into an alarm condition. Next function available is the single return symbol, which is a return 1 menu level. This would bring the instrument back into menu level 1. If we go to a double return, it would always go back to the main operating mode or menu level 0. Again, to select a setting or a function, the alarm button is used as an enter button. And in any menu level other than menu level 0, the alarm button is considered an enter button for doing various settings. We will now use this button. We'll go back to menu level 0. And now we'll go up into the menu level 3, which is the calibration points for the various types of sensors used with the instrument. We'll go up to menu level 1 by holding the button in for 5 seconds. Remember to release the button after you've gotten into the menu level. Press it again and hold it in for 5 seconds. We're at menu level 2, the alarm level. To get to the calibration points menu, we press it a third time and hold it in for 5 seconds. And we're now in menu level 3. The various sensors are used with the instrument are used or set for the instrument by using two data points. Each data point will be a value of the sensor accompanied by either a temperature value or a pressure value. Right now we are looking at the first set value in resistance, since the instrument right now is set for a resistive temperature sensor. In this case it's set for 3.57 kiloohms, or 3,570 ohms. If you ever see a decimal point in this display, you know that the reading is in kiloohms, or thousands of ohms. This can be changed to different value. We can set it at a different value by using the enter button, and when it accepts that value you'll see that the decimal points flash, and now this new resistance value is entered as a data point for the resistive temperature sensor. Next data point is a temperature value in Fahrenheit. Right now the temperature value set point is for 70 degrees Fahrenheit at 3.54 kiloohms on the sensor. Next function is the second data point for temperature, and it is currently set at 348 ohms. You don't see a decimal point, so you know that this is an actual value in ohms. It's not in thousands of ohms, but it can be changed as well and entered as a different value if you wish. We'll just go ahead and not enter it right now. The next value is the temperature data point for the second data point, and that is set right now at 180 degrees Fahrenheit. The next calibration function is for pressure. Right now it is a pressure sensor value, and it is set at 10 ohms. And the associated pressure at 10 ohms for this first data point is 0 psi. The next pressure data point is a value of 180 ohms, and its associated pressure is 150 psi. The value at the bottom will change depending on the type of sensor selected. Right now we have a resistive type sensor selected. In the case of an electronic sensor, this would be a value between 0 and 5 volts, and you'd be able to adjust it in 1/100th volt increments between 0 and 5 volts. If it was an LM335 sensor for temperature, it would always just read 335 because those are set values on that type of sensor. And if it was a current loop pressure sensor, you would be able to select a value between 4 and 20 milliamps. To go back one level, we can use the alarm or the alarm button as an enter button, and we're back in menu level 2. We can go through the various alarm functions in menu level 2. We can go back to menu level 1, which are the other options of the instrument, and we can then go back to the main operating mode of the instrument. And that is the conclusion of a quick demonstration of the various menus and functions of the OSM-100.